Hey guys, how is everybody doing? I don't know if you're tripping like I'm tripping. I don't do 9 a.m. pop-ups. You know, I prefer not to do anything this early in the morning, right? But anyway, so I'm here because I was like working on my business yesterday, and I've got, Soul Shift U starting tomorrow night, and then I've got the last night of marketing of the business bacon. Um, um the business basics. Oh wait, guys, I just got to give y'all this testimony. So just before I jumped online, i um I had sent Jordan this picture of us when she was little, and she sends me this message back, and it has some slang in it, but I'm not sure if if it's a typo because Jordan doesn't typically use slang. And I say, what do you mean by that? And then she explains the slang that it is. And y'all, I just got so excited about that because I was thinking of, in that instant, as I read it, as I was talking to you guys, I was like, oh my God, this chick is doing so much of the stuff that they said she would never be able to do. Is that not freaking amazing? But I think it ties in exactly to what this pop-up is about. And I think that this I was really thinking about, how do I share with people? Hold on, I'm gonna try something. What happens when you do pop-ups, right? Anyway, so I was like, how do I get people to understand this thing that I feel like I understand, that has allowed me to build a life where I love my work, right? And so I'm just going to try to share some of it with you today. I hope you listen. I didn't even say hashtag live, but you know what I want you to do. Hashtag live, share it with your friends, tag somebody, share it with your story. And if this resonates with you, I really need you to talk to me today because I want you to get this right. So this morning I had this thought because I had been working last night and really just, I'm always trying to figure out the best way to communicate the things that I know to other people. And a lot of that is because you've heard me say this before, that, my frustration used to be is that people would tell you that we could have something, but then when you would say how, they wouldn't necessarily be able to give you the steps. So I'm real big on being able to try to give you the steps, but I think there's something more important than steps. And I think it's the mindset. I think that if you can understand how someone thinks, right?
and who created something, then you can create that, right? Does that make sense? So like, I think steps are important. I think strategy is important, but I think one of the most important things that we can do is know why somebody did what they did, why they're thinking the way that they're thinking. And then because if we can do that, if you can now apply that thinking to your situation, you can get amazing results. So anyway, let me just try this off the cuff, right? I was writing this morning because I was writing about my guiding principles, and I had heard somebody say yesterday in a little clip that everybody lives by principles, and if you don't live by your principles, then you don't have a life that you love. And so I was like, oh, I think that's so true. Now I want to talk to you guys particularly about making money, and I want to say something, and it's probably going to sound a little offensive, but you guys know me well enough to know that offense is not what I do. I will do shock value in order to get you worked up, to get you to shift, but I don't do offensive and I don't do mean. So I want to tell you something about your money and your work, okay? Today, you are living the life you believe you deserve. Everybody take a deep breath. You are living the life you believe you deserve. You are living your money, your work. You have built that because that's what you believe you deserve. Now hear me, before you fade to black, before you want to argue back. I didn't say it was what you want. I said it's what you believe you deserve. And honestly, you believe that you deserve it. You believe that you deserve it because of the teaching that shaped you even before knew you were being shaped. That's why I'm such a fan of Soul Shift, guys. I'm such a fan of Soul Shift because many of us are living our life on autopilot. You're living your life with the beliefs of your mother. You're living your life with the beliefs of your father. You're living the life with the beliefs of your community. And you don't even realize it until you start thinking about your thinking. Now, you guys know that I love Romans 12:2 because it says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind so that you can prove what is that good, perfect, and acceptable will of God for your own life, right? And so I cannot change my thinking until I can at first identify my thinking, right? So I was thinking about this, and it may seem a little rambly, but let's just pretend you're at my house, you're my friend, and I'm talking to you about what I'm working through. So, around this time of year, people start asking me to do podcasts, and they start asking me how I did what I did. And so then I always have to stop and dissect how I did what I did. And I have to acknowledge that I could not do what I'm doing until I did two things. Until I admitted what I really believed I was created for. Until I admitted what I really believed I was created for. Right? And I eradicated the lies that kept me from doing it. So number one, I had to admit what I really believed God created me to do. And I believed it because, especially if you go to church, that you can walk around in a lot of false humility. And I'm not talking about that thing where you're always on Facebook and always on Instagram telling people how dope you are, because the truth of it is that I believe that much of that is an overcompensation, because I believe that when you really settle that you dope, you don't always have to say it. Like, just like I believe if you really believe you're pretty, you're not always telling people that you're pretty because you just know you're pretty. So I'm not talking about this now going to this other extreme. I think we tend to live in either two extremes. One is, you know what? I'm an unworthy wretch. I'm just a sinner saved by grace. You know what? I don't, literally somebody says you sang good. You go, it wasn't me. No, it was you. It wasn't just the Lord, because I got the Lord and I can't sing that way, right? And then the other thing is this overcompensation, like pay me my value and don't disrespect me, which also is a form of overcompensation, because when people are using that language a lot, it's because you're still unsure of your value. Right. So I really had to admit what I believed I was created to do. After I admitted what I was created to do, I had to start dismantling the lies that kept me from it. Okay. So I want to give you these things that I wrote down that I believe shape the fact that I do work that I love. Right. And so I'm going to share these with you. And I don't really know where we're going. I just felt like I was supposed to share this with you. And if it's resonating with you, I wish you would share. I wish you would comment. I wish you would agree. So number one, the one thing that's a guiding principle for my life that establishes how I live, it's my belief based on scripture, right? Is that number one, I believe I was created by God on purpose, for purpose, with purpose. I was created by God on purpose, for purpose, with purpose. I was created by God on purpose, for purpose, with purpose. Like, I believe that to my core. I believe that about every single human being on the planet. I believe that we were created by God on purpose, for purpose, with purpose. I believe that that's what Psalms 139 gives us insight into it when it says he formed us in the secret places. I believe that God looked and he pulled out of himself and he said, listen, I need Amy in the earth in this thing. I'm going to give her this unique gifts, combinations of skills. I'm going to give Everett this. I'm going to give Farron this. I'm going to give Erica this. I'm going to give Natalie this. I'm going to give Kim this. I'm going to give Sean this. And I believe that the truth of it is that most people don't really believe that. And I'm not really sure what people believe that they were created for, but most people do not believe they were intentionally created on purpose, for purpose, and with purpose. Because if you did, you would not be able to be content with living a life that has no purpose. You would not be able to be content getting up every day, going to a job that makes you sick, that irritates you, that vexes you, because you do that because, hear me, because what I first said is that you've created the life you deserve. So you believe you do that because that's what you believe you deserve. You believe that you deserve that because you looked around in your life. Maybe your mother didn't love her job. Maybe your father didn't love his job. Maybe you had a baby early and you didn't feel like that you had the luxury to make choices. And so you created, you went and got a job just to survive. Okay. Now, let me say this. Let me interject this. I think that one of the biggest problems that we have in the world is that, I know it's this today. Believers say it all the time. They say, live the life of your dreams. But how many of you know that you can build a life of your dreams that even when you get it, it doesn't bless you? It doesn't bless you because it wasn't the life of his dream for you. How many of you have ever accomplished a dream, got a job, achieved a degree, did something, and it still didn't fit because it was based on people saying to you, based on your personality, you should do this. Based on a personality profile, you should do this. It wasn't, you didn't know that you should say, hey, God, if you created me on purpose, for purpose, with purpose, tell me what the heck that is, right? And so, and y'all, I know that, listen, guys, I'm a huge fan that I believe that in order for this work to do it, you can't look at other people. You got to really look at yourself, right? You gotta look at yourself. I also think that you have to know that you're growing and becoming. So just because something fits you in your 20s doesn't mean it has to fit you in your 60s. That as you grow and become, that God can use one dream to get you to another dream, to get you to another dream, to get you to another dream, right? But I believe if you don't fundamentally believe that you were created by God on purpose, for purpose, with purpose, you will settle for a life that is not God's life for you. Does that make sense? Okay, so the other thing that I absolutely believe is I believe that I was created with my own unique combination. I believe that I was created with my own unique combination of gifts, talents, and abilities. I believe that I was created with my own unique combination of gifts, talents, and abilities. That when I identified, because I'm trying to give you guys an opportunity to take notes on this, I believe that I was created with my own unique combination of gifts, talents, and abilities. That when I identified, and cultivated and used with integrity, that when identified, cultivated, and used with integrity, will honor God, bless others, and prosper me. So let me break that down, because I was thinking about this, because and one of somebody asked me like why I don't care about people teaching my content, because I believe that I was created with my own unique combination of gifts, talents, and abilities. And I believe that Chandra was too. So I believe that even if we teach the same thing, we're just going to reach more people, because her personality, her unique combination is going to let her reach some people that I would never reach. And my combination is going to let me reach some people that I would never reach. So it's the reason I don't compete with other people. I don't compete with other people. I don't think about what I don't let the fact that you're doing it too stop me. And what I see for a lot of people is that you'll go, I want to do t-shirts, but somebody else does t-shirts. What does that have to do with me? That doesn't have anything to do with me, that somebody else does t-shirts. Somebody else is coaching, or somebody else is in real estate. What that doesn't have anything to do with me, because I was created with my own, and that tag right there, I see what's her name? She just posted, and I wish that y'all would grab this, and that y'all would, her name is Tasha Stokes. I wish that y'all would grab that and you put that on your social media today. I believe that. I believe I was created with my own unique combination of gifts, talents, and abilities that when identified and cultivated and used with integrity are going to do three things. So there are three things I have the responsibility to do: identify, cultivate, and use with integrity. And those three things are going to do these three things: honor God, bless others, and prosper me. I believe that. I believe that, because I'm talking about things I believe in my core. I believe it is my responsibility to seek God, to discover the gifts He placed in me and how to use them. Is this making sense to y'all? I believe it's my responsibility to seek God, to discover the gifts He placed in me and how to best use them. My responsibility. Now, I believe this aligns with scripture, because the Bible says, if you're hungry and thirsty, you'll get filled. The Bible says, seek, knock, and it shall be given unto you. Ask, seek, knock. And so what I realize now on the other side of it, and me and Pastor Ellen were talking about this, that what we're always trying to do for people is that we're always trying to help you learn in less time than we learned, right? So I'm trying to go back through a 20-year journey and say, here's some things that I learned that may increase your speed, because maybe you don't waste time the way that I wasted time, right? So I believe it is my responsibility to seek God, to discover the gifts He placed in me and to use them correctly. This is the reason that I am willing to build the plane while I'm flying it. This is the reason I am willing to build the plane while I'm flying. So what do I mean? I want to give you an example. Years ago, when I realized I wasn't supposed to be a lawyer and what I'm doing now wasn't clear to me. If this is helping you, I need some heart, some fire, some something. Come on and help me help you today. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I used to say that I don't know what I want to be to grow up when I grow up, because what do you do when what you thought you were supposed to be isn't what you were supposed to be? But now let me say this. There are some of you that you never got to figure out, because there were choices that happened to you earlier in your life like maybe you were a single mother, or maybe you had to help your mother, and so you didn't necessarily get to dream, and you didn't necessarily get to create, and so what you ended up having to do was to go and get a job, and you had to just pay the bills. And here's the problem, and I want to be honest, and I'm not trying to be mean, that the problem for many of you is that when you were in that state of survival, when you came home, instead of dreaming, you use TV, or you use drugs, or you use sex, or you use partying in order to, or church. Don't let me forget church, because Lord knows we will use church to get high. You use those things to get high, to ignore that you did not love your life. Do you hear what I'm saying? So yeah, you're working a job you don't really want to work. It doesn't really resonate with you. You are you're doing work that doesn't really align with you, even if you're good at the work. And the problem is, I want to tell you this: the better you get at the work, the more people need you to do the work, and then they start convincing you that that's the work that you were supposed to do. But if you tell the truth on the inside of you, you know it's not the work that you're supposed to do, because it doesn't bring you any joy. And the work that God created you to do brings you joy. So this is another belief. I believe that God created us, that when we are in perfect alignment, the work we are created to do feels like play. Now, I want to say this. That when I first started saying this stuff, oh my God, nobody was saying this. And a lot of people still don't believe this. I believe that God is so, let me tell you, because I believe that God is good, and I believe that God is love. So I don't believe that God created Heather with the personality that she has and the creativity that she has, and then his best for her was to work in a cubicle where she couldn't move around. Now, I also believe that most of us, now I talked about one, I had to decide what I wanted. I had to decide that I believed I was created for better. And I had to tear down what I believed wrong. Well, here is what a lot of us have been taught. And I want you to throw your own things in there. We have been taught that to be wealthy, it's got to be a strain. We have been taught that it's not necessary to do work that we love, that all that matters is that we make money. We have been taught that our gifts are insignificant. We have been taught that if other people are doing it, we can't do it. So I want you to I want you to think about, because you can't tear down the lies if you don't own them. You can't tear down the lies if you don't own them. No, so Farron says, I'm created to preach the gospel. We're all created to preach the gospel, but you may not be created to make money preaching the gospel. And I think that's the other thing. And now let me say this. I'm glad she said it, because I think this is the other thing with church people, is that church people, because of how you've been preached to, you literally think all ministry is preaching in a traditional way. And what has happened is we have all these broke preachers. Yep, I said it. We got all of these broke preachers when really you were supposed to be an architect. You were supposed to be an engineer. You were supposed to be a real estate investor. You were supposed to build a tech company. You were supposed to build houses. You were supposed to do all of this different stuff. And I love Jesus. I'm a preacher. But my only destiny was not preaching the word. Paul did not just preach the word. He built something. And I think the other thing that I think is so important is that when we separate, Deuteronomy 8 and 18 says God has given us the power to get wealth. Why would God give us power to get wealth in a way that did not resonate with how he made us. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? And I think if I got any superpower at all, it's that I am resilient and I refuse to settle. I refuse to settle. I refuse to settle. So I remember when the Lord first told me that in his ideal world and what he created us to do, that he created us to work from how he created us. Right. And because of that, I was willing to keep searching. So I was saying the other day that, like, after a lot of people may not know this about me, after I realized I wasn't supposed to be a lawyer, what I did know, this is what I was trying to say. What I did know, this is all I used to see of myself. Because I used to dream and just sit down. And I used to ask myself, what's my ideal day? What would my ideal day look like? And everyone would ask me, babe, what does your ideal day look like? And I would say, all I know is that I am supposed to do work that helps people live their God-given life. That's all I knew. I didn't know what it looked like, but I could see myself sitting down and talking to people. And everyone was like, I don't know what that is. And I was like, I don't know what that is either. But this is why you got to get some people in your life who are willing to support you, even though you don't know what it is. And this is what he told me to do. He said, whenever you get a job, I would go out and I would get these jobs. And I'm going to just tell y'all my story. I would go out and get these jobs because I needed the value of getting the job, because I didn't have the dream of being a lawyer. So I needed to feel like somebody was still picking me. So I would do all this work to apply for these jobs because I needed to be picked. Because what do you do when you thought you were going to be a lawyer and now you're not going to be a lawyer? Man, I hope this is helping somebody today. I needed to be picked. So I chased these jobs and I would get these jobs. And then I'm telling y'all, in 3 days, I would know I had made a mistake because I needed to be picked. I needed somebody to acknowledge my value, because if I wasn't a lawyer, where was my value? I had spent my whole life wanting to be a lawyer. If I wasn't a lawyer, where was my value? And some of you stay in jobs because that's where you see your value as, even though the work makes you sick, even though the work works against who you are. Now, hear me. I am not telling everybody to go out and quit their job. I'm not, because God is more strategic for that than that. So but this is what Edwin did say to me. He said, every time you get a job, pay attention to what you love and then pay attention to what you hate. So I started making a list, what I loved about a job, right? What I hated about a job. And I decided, and then I started hearing this thing. I know it came from the Lord, that sometimes if you don't see it, you got to build it. So I'm saying to you that I didn't care that people, no, well, let me be honest. At first I did care. Tell your neighbor, at first she did care. At first, I did care. That's why I kept trying to put on jobs that didn't fit me. At first, I did care. Let me tell you what I cared about. I cared what the people who I went to law school would think about the fact that I wasn't making any real money and I wasn't practicing. So let me just tell the truth. At first, I did care, and that's why I had to renew my mind. At first, I did care. I cared a lot. I cared a lot. That's why I kept letting people fit me into boxes that didn't belong to me, because I cared a lot. And I couldn't get free until I admitted that I cared, so then I could break up with the care. And so, what starts to happen is that I start to pay attention to the work that gives me joy. I hope this is helping y'all. And I just refuse to settle. I love what Yolanda says. She said, I wanted to develop and empower young women, so I became a basketball coach, but I hated coaching basketball, but I love coaching the women. Right. That's a way that you go, oh, I love this piece. I don't love this piece. Right. I cared and I had to break it. And so let me keep going with this list of things that I wrote down about my guiding principles, because I hope you'll write your guiding principles. Right. No. Hey, girl. and she said, so it's hard for me to tear down the lies and move forward because I'm afraid of outgrowing and leaving people. And that's another lie that people believe, because it's people everywhere. And this is one of the things that I really had to come to resolve with, that at the end of the day, that hanging with people who weren't willing to grow was keeping me from the people that were praying for me. And y'all do this. I know, and I'm not, and I hope you understand that a lot of times the reason I'm so passionate is because I can see where you're stuck, because I used to be stuck there. So I can see how people dress up their excuses and they say, God told me to stay at this job. No, God didn't tell you to stay at this job. You scared to leave. You scared of leaving people behind. You scared of what they're going to think about you. You scared of what they're going to say about you. Now, what you say is that you don't care, but your decision making indicates something different. Is this helping somebody? And so the Bible says God desires truth in the inward parts. And so for me, when I would tell the truth, I could take my truth and exchange it for God's truth. And so I believe it's my responsibility to seek and discover the gifts God placed in me. So in order to do that, I had to be willing. I had to be willing to take some risk. Guys, I tried so many things. If Edwin was up, he in retirement, so he stay up to 3 o'clock in the morning and sleep till like 10. But if Edwin was up, he would tell you, I tried so many things. Guys, listen, I entertained when I wanted to be a nurse. My grandma was like, girl, you don't like blood. That's not going to work. She was right. I would not have been a good nurse. Let me tell y'all what else I did that probably very few people know about me. When I was pregnant with Jordan, I enrolled in the fashion design program at the U of A and took fashion design classes for 2 semesters. Which is why I know a lot of random stuff. The Bible says that God said to Abraham, go to a place that I will show you. Well, I couldn't go if I wasn't willing to move. And the thing that I decided is that I was willing to fail 1,000,000 times. I want you to hear me. I was willing to fail 1,000,000 times trying to find what I was created to do than to get to the end of my life and be filled with regret. So, did people laugh at me? Yes. Did people misunderstand me? Yes. Did well-meaning people often try to constantly steer me back on their path? No, Monique, girl, I couldn't be I don't like, matter of fact, I don't like blood, I don't like spit, I don't like nothing that would require that. I'd have just went on, I'd have been like, no, friend, you gotta work that out yourself today. And I'm not, guys, I'm telling you, life is too short and God is too big to get to the end of your life, to be 90 years old and to look back over your life and say, I never discovered and developed my purpose. I'm just trying to tell y'all what I was committed to do. So I believed it was my responsibility to discover and use the gifts he placed in me. So I would test it. So like one of the things we know is that I am a coach, but it is through trial and error that I figured out a lot of this stuff. It is through trial and error that I figured out that I didn't want to life coach everybody about everything. It is through trial and error that you hear us laugh about it, about how one summer we decided in order to make some extra money and help people that we would do marriage coaching, and we were going to do 2 segments. And by the time we finished the first segment, I told Edwin, you can keep doing this, but I'm not doing this no more. They can't pay me enough to do this because it's because I believe that God wired us, that when we do what we are created to do, that even when hear what I'm about to say, even when it seems hard to other people, it gives us this great amount of joy. And if you have ever seen anybody work in their element, you know what it means. I don't know if he's on here, but one of our spiritual sons, Cedric Vaughn, he is a coach. He trains kids in track. And if you ever see Ced training and engaging with these kids, and you watch the way his body lights up, you know that it's the work that he is called to do. Pastor Edwin will say to me sometimes, when I'm listening to you walk people through stuff, it feels so hard to me. Even the hard cases don't feel hard to me most of the time. Honest to goodness. And so, no, Denise said the number one regret that people have on their dying beds is I wish I had had the courage to live a life true to myself. Now, here is where I think that this is the difference. That if you don't renew your mind, you can think you're living the wrong life because you have accepted an identity God didn't give you. So this is why, for me, God has to be center in this, because I think the problem for a lot of believers is that you're out here trying to pick what's good as though God don't know. So you're out here trying to pick what's good. Oh, I'm good at this. I'm good at this. I'm good at this. Instead of saying, what did you create me to do? Right? And so I believe it's my responsibility to discover. And the only way that I'm going to discover, how do kids learn things? They play. They play. So it is my responsibility. Here's the next thing that I believe is my responsibility to do. It is my responsibility to do my part to identify, develop, and use my gifts in ways that honor God, bless people, and prosper me. I hope this is blessing y'all. I really do. And then the other thing is that these are things I fundamentally believe. I believe that my gifts are designed for a two-part thing. And this is what I don't believe most people believe. I believe my gifts are designed for a two-part thing, really a three-part thing. To glorify God, to bless people, and to prosper others. So my gifts should serve humanity and make me wealthy. I believe that. And because I believe that, I had to stop listening to people who told me otherwise. So, for example, I believe that, wait, does anybody have any questions? And I realize now this is why I first started teaching Live Your God-Given Dream, because I realized that most of you have stopped dreaming. Most of you are picking what you have settled for. Most of you are picking, and this is what's so crazy to me. There is probably nothing that anybody on this live wants to do that you can't see that somebody makes money for, but because you don't believe in who God made you, you disqualify yourself. You disqualify yourself. In fact, the devil don't even have to disqualify you. Okay, somebody said, what was the thing that was most pivotal on your journey to purpose? Oh, I don't know that I have a one thing. I think I have a series of things, but I will tell you that there is a scripture that I think got me here. The Bible says that they that hunger and thirst for righteousness shall be filled. And because I stayed so hungry and so thirsty to know my God-given purpose, okay? God was obligated to give me answers. Now, let me tell you what I also think. I think that a lot of you get frustrated because you think everything's supposed to be a straight path because that's what the American dream has taught us. Now, I think God doesn't waste anything. So I don't care what your background is. God did waste it. Does that make sense? So I now realize at 50, guys, that even things I thought was a waste that God was using to teach me something. Okay, so let me give you an example. Working the wrong job, working jobs that kept me constantly stressed out, that I was constantly looking to use my days of vacation, that heck, I was hoping that I didn't feel well so I didn't have to go to work, helped me to recognize it in other people, which then allows me to ask questions to help people see. So I think that the advantage of, no, absolutely, absolutely. So the things that I thought were failures, the things that I thought were failures, God then took. And then now I have the ability, because now I can listen to how you talk to know your work doesn't resonate with you. So Don said, do you just pray? Absolutely, you don't pray. Just pray. Do you pray? But you try things. You go, oh, when, for example, I said, when I did this job, oh, I got a lot of fulfillment out of this thing, but I didn't get fulfillment out of this thing. So how can I do more of this and less of that? So I'm just gonna talk to y'all as y'all put things up. So Kenya says, sometimes I feel that because I was a stay-at-home mom, now the kids are adults, I don't have anything to give now at times. And so here's the thing, because remember I started by saying this to everybody who believes that you live the life you live because you believe that you deserve it. That's a lie that you have embraced that allows you to stay where you are. And the truth of it is, guys, a lot of times we like those lies because those lies are comfortable for us. Because if I tell the story, hey, I was a stay-at-home mom, so I didn't get to work. And so as a result of getting to work, I don't have any skills, and that's why I can't make money. Then now I can justify why I don't have any money. And now I may not be living the life I want, but I'm definitely living the life I believe I deserve. And all of us have done it. If you tell the truth, we've all done it. People say, I can't change my career because I've been in this career so long. I can't do this because I was this. I can't do this because I was in this. And the truth of it is, if it, like many of you, like you could have done got a whole nother degree, a whole nother certification, a whole nother something else. But what you got stuck in is this story. And this is the thing. This is why people should do Soul Shift. If you ain't signed up for Soul Shift, you should. We start tomorrow night. But this is really it, right? Is that what we do is that, and I say this all the time for Christian women. Y'all, it's two things most people not going to argue with us about. Two things. Number one, they're not going to argue with us if we say God said. And they're not going to argue with us if we say I did it for my family. Real talk. So we get good at using that in the appropriate place. Oh, you know what? You're telling, if you don't make enough money, get another job. No. I was getting ready to get another job, but the Lord told me to stay. No, your fear told you to stay, and you made it sound like the Lord. That's why you got to think about your thinking. That's why you got to be willing to say, you know what, I would, because I'm not trying to be funny. Some of you've been struggling long enough that you could have gone back to school and got a new degree. You could have gone and gotten certifications. You could have gone and done all kind of stuff. But what we do is we have been taught to work jobs that we hate, to get money that's not enough money to live the life that we live, and then go home and medicate with television, binge watching, TikTok. Like, I was thinking about this. This is probably going to sound so rude. Oh my God, I do not mean this to be rude, right? But this is how I started saying to my stuff. I started saying to myself. I'm just going to tell y'all what I said to myself. I said, Sean, you are too broke and too unfulfilled to watch that much TV. I'm not saying that to you. I'm telling you what I said to myself. Sean, you too broke and too unfulfilled to come home and get high off television shows, living vicariously through somebody else. I believe that is one of the biggest hooks of reality TV. And it's one of the reasons that we like it ratchet, because even if I hate my life, I can look at them on TV acting a fool and be like, girl, at least my life ain't that bad. So somebody was asking me the other day, oh, okay. Okay. So somebody was asking me the other day what I read for fun. This is another thing that I think is this a distinguishing thing. And I'm not saying you had to be me. I'm just telling you me, because mentorship is about telling what I did. In fact, I done got stared up. And when I get some stuff off my plate, I'm going to come back and I'm going to teach how to live your dreams again. Because some of y'all are out here living the wrong life because you haven't let somebody provoke you to live the right life. So somebody asked me, what do I do for fun? Lots of people ask me, Passion, what do you do for fun? Learn. What do you do for fun? Learn. That's what I do for fun. It's fun to learn to me. It's fun to learn how to take an idea and make six figures off of it. It's fun to, I learn for fun. Now, let me say this. A lot of y'all do a lot of learning, but you real low on that implementation. So what you do is you do a lot of learning, but you real low on implementation. And so what you do is you always got to get one more certification. You got to take one more coaching class. You got to get one more master's. Because you're using learning to hide. Yeah, you smart. And oh my God. Listen. I'm just trying to help you, because it's not a brag that Black women are the most educated population and the brokest. That ain't no brag. That's not a flex. It is not a flex that we are more educated than anybody else. We have more advanced degrees than anybody else, and we make less money. That's not a flex. All right, let's see. What do I want to say next? No, I said to one of my groups this morning, I was like, you know how you make money? You do stuff that make money. You do stuff to make money. You do stuff to make money. But if you go run and get another degree, you're not doing stuff to make money. I think many of you have forgotten how absolutely creative you are. You have forgotten how, now, okay, because there was one more thing I wanted to tell y'all, because I want y'all to know this about social media. Like, I was talking to my friend yesterday, and we was having a great conversation. And my friend, who is in corporate America, my friend was saying to me about how much value I give for free, and I shouldn't give that much value for free. And let me tell you what I said to my friend. I said, friend, you are not my ideal client. I do not consider you when I'm posting. When I'm posting on social media, I'm talking to my ideal client. So what does that mean? I'm not trying to reach everybody else. I'm not trying to reach everybody in the world. I'm not. If you don't want to put God first, I ain't trying to reach you. I don't want to be your coach. I don't want to be your mentor. If you think I talk about God too much, My friend was like, man, you give so much, you so intense. I was like, because I want people to know before they work with me that they should work with me. Because at the end of the day, this is who I'm gonna be. Because what you're never gonna do is convince. Yes, there. Don't get it. Don't do it. I'm about to rabbit hole that. I'm not rabbit trailing it. So I don't post. I don't post for the people who don't want to work with me. Like, real talk. If you don't want to do work that loves God, if you don't want to love God, honor people, and make money, then don't follow me. Because Chick-fil-A ain't out here trying to market to the vegans unless they intend to stop being vegan and eat chicken. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Because what else did I want to say? So I want you to know on social media, I'm posting to my ideal client. I don't care about, I mean, hey, one of my own relatives unfriended me several years ago because they was like, you is way too positive. Ain't nobody that ever happy. Go ahead, leave. I don't care. Because I'm not posting to work with you. And some of the issue for some of you who want to be entrepreneurs is you trying to work with everybody. Nobody's called to work with everybody. Only Jesus is for everybody. What else did I want to tell y'all? Oh, I want to tell you this. You can do a little or a lot with your gifts. You can do a little or a lot with your gifts. What you do with your gifts is up to you. Could it be that we turn into learning more because we are afraid of implementation? Absolutely. You scared. And the saints like to dress up. Like, listen, and let me tell, let me, oh, I'm so glad you asked that, because here's a really good question, right? And you know what? This is a great word. If you want to sow into this word, hey, can somebody put the link for Soul Shift for this lady, Tori? It's going to start tomorrow. It's $125, what, a month, or $1,500 for the year. But let me tell you something. Oh, where was I? This really is like y'all at my house right now. Because now I'm like, what's the last thing I said? Some of y'all should just tell the truth that you scared to make money. You scared to be, thank you, Holy Ghost. You scared to be successful. But the real reason you don't get free is because you think your fear is an excuse to be disobedient. And like, even though I like counseling and therapy and coaching and all of that stuff, at the end of the day, a lot of these conversations that we having, these conversations are a waste of time. Because at the end of the day, it come down to this: is you go obey God or ain't you? So you dress it all up. You know what? Pastor Sean, what it is for me is that I'm afraid of the fear of, I have a fear of success. And you know what? And I understand, Sybil, because I have a fear of failure. And so we both sitting over here just disobeying God because we have a fear. And we think our fear is permission. Ego, pride, all of those things are fear. You only operating in two realms. You are only operating from love or fear. Them the only two. Now we've got 20,000 other things we put under fear. Rebellion, manipulation, disobedience. But at the end of the day, it's fear. Is your fear going to cause you to disobey God? It's really, really simple. It's really, really simple. So I love what Tyra says. She said, I also believe we have too many voices in our head in our lives. Absolutely. But again, I want to say that the reason that you have so many voices in your head is that it's easier to get off this live and watch another live than to say, what could I do today to make $250? It is easier. It is easier to jump from live to live to live, from preacher to preacher to preacher, than to say, I am Look, I'm gonna tell y'all this. It's so much I want to tell y'all. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm gonna do live your dream stuff again this year. I'm gonna do it. Because this is the thing I realized, that the reason my first mentoring group was called Relentless is because I got relentless. And in being relentless, I stopped making excuses. And I realized that what happened is, when I stopped making excuses, I stopped talking to people who gave me permission to make excuses. I don't talk to people who give me permission to make excuses. And LaShawn says implementation is hard since I have not fill in the blank, but whatever. Let me tell you what's harder: living the wrong life. Pick your heart. Pick your heart. I'm gonna tell you this, and I do not mean to be rude. I'm not. I don't want to be rude, but I want to provoke you. I want to provoke you. I'm gonna tell y'all a story. 5 years ago, me and three of my other friends were talking about planning a trip, and two of us could not afford the trip for all the reasons that people say. For all the reasons that people say. I had small kids. Everyone was the only one working. Blah, 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 blah. But I just want to say this, and people may not like this, and I'm not trying to not have mercy on you. I do understand why you stay stuck. I'm just telling you that if you don't change the narrative, you go be here for the rest of your life, and it's going to suck. Because let me tell you the difference between us and many of our ancestors. We didn't know that God wanted us to have more. You now know. So you quoting scriptures, making declarations, still ain't got $1,000, still can't afford to go on vacation, still working on stuff that like that. And that's that heart hope deferred that makes you sick. So I'm gonna tell you this story and then we go get out of here. Um, so how do you, let me say this. People talking about, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You don't need finishing grace till you start. So let me tell you this story. Me and my three friends, we was on the call. Two of them was going on this vacation, and they didn't even ask, they didn't ask us because they knew they weren't trying to exclude us, but they knew our financial situation. So when we got off, I called the other friend who was in the same situation with me, and I said, I just want to make a declaration to you. I will never be here again. I will never be here again. I'm not going to be the friend in the group who can't go on the trip because I don't have the money. I'm not going to be the friend on the trip who can't go to the fancy restaurant unless somebody else pay. I made a decision I wasn't going to be that. I am not going to be the person that if Edwin can't pay for it, we can't have it. I'm not going to be that person. Now, many of you have said that, but what makes people distinctly different is that I got up and went to work. And I used to make this say, there's this thing, if I find it, I'm gonna post it today. And it says while you were debating whether the glass was half empty or half full, I sold the glass. In the beginning, a lot of my entrepreneurial stuff was not my ideal work, but it was to get me where I wanted to go. Now, what's interesting to me is that people will say to me, they can't do an entrepreneurial thing to get where they want to go when it's not ideal, but you'll work at a job you hate for 20 years in order to pay the bills. It make sense because it don't make sense. And I got resolute. And this is what I mean about being hungry and thirsty. I got resolute about a couple things. I got resolute that I was going to do work using my gifts and talents. I got resolute that I didn't have to grind and work hard all the time and be on team no sleep. I got resolute that I could make money doing my gifts. Did all of it happen at one time? It absolutely didn't happen at one time, but I got resolute. And listen, when I got resolute, I got as resolute about making money as I did about Jordan talking. And so if that wasn't what you was talking, I ain't had time to be talking to you, because what you wasn't finna do was waste my time talking about dumb stuff when I knew that I was done being the person who couldn't afford to be in the room. Soul Shift U is designed to help you identify blockages in your soul. If you fix your soul, then you will be a better entrepreneur, but it's not designed exactly for entrepreneurs. It's for your soul. So I literally decided I wasn't going to be in the same place. Baby, let me tell you something. Back then, I used to hate braids. I got braids. I took my nails off. Let me tell you what happened. Like this how serious I was. One time I made a sweet potato pie, because I'm just trying to help you get inspired. And I know some of you may have to go, but I hope this helps you. Listen, and I'm telling you, you need to sow into this word by joining a program. And if you don't have a program to join, you need to sow a seed, because you need to make a decision that you're not going to be here. You need some skin in the game. But listen, let me tell you something. This is how serious I got. One time I made a sweet potato pie. I took a picture of the pie, put it on there. This guy sent me a message and said, I'll buy that pie from you for $20. My son Chase was getting ready to cut that pie. I said, son, you just lost that pie. Over the next 2 days, I sold like 12 to 15 pies and then now here's what I'm talking about figuring out what you want to do. I went, I sold 12 to 15 pies. It don't cost me that much. I made good profit margin, but I don't want to be in the kitchen all day. Then I use that money to afford something else I wanted to do. But the truth of it is right now that if my back got against the wall and all my clients stopped working with me, baby, I sell a fool out some sweet potato pies and some pound cake. I would go out here to these restaurants that's got raggedy desserts and say, listen, you know your dessert don't taste good. Go ahead and let taste pieces and put me on the plane. Because I made a decision that it was unacceptable for me to stay there. I think some of you, hey Bishop, are waiting on God to come and rescue you and drop a plan. Use what's in your hand. Use what's in your house. Forget about, see, already Bishop Vaughn said she'll buy one of my pies. I'm telling you, and I'm gonna give y'all this tip, and then we go get ready to go. One of my tips is I don't spend money on the front end. What do I mean? I don't spend money on the front end, and this is where a lot of y'all get messed up. If I'm gonna sell a t-shirt, I create the t-shirt and take pre-orders. Why? Because I don't need money to take pre-orders. I then use the money from the pre-orders. Now, see, Bishop. $50 plus ship. Plus shipping. So I pre-sell the t-shirts. I pre-sell the book. I pre-sell the class. Here's where a lot of y'all really get messed up. Number one, this is why you need to build a plane while you're flying. You get so invested in your idea. You'll get so invested in your idea that you keep pushing your idea even when don't nobody want it. So you trying to make people spend money on what they don't want. Well, everybody needs such and such and such, but they don't want it. So you got to figure out how to give. So what I did, like I always wanted to do what I'm doing now, which is this really intense work with a group of people. But in the beginning, people couldn't handle that. So what I did was, okay, what do you want? Oh, you want to know about your dreams? I teach you about your dreams. I teach you about your God-given dreams. Now, what was going to happen in God-given dream, in living your God-given dreams? It was 3 factors. Anybody remember? CBAs are living your God-given dreams. Clarity, belief, and action. Clarity, belief, and action. All I ever really wanted to talk about was clarity and belief, which is why I love Erica and Heather and Chandra, because in my work now, what they do is give people action steps. I never wanted to do that part. But I started with something. And then what happened is then people would go, oh, I'm stuck because of my belief, which is always what I wanted to be able to talk about anyway. I'm telling you. So fast forward. this friend who I love dearly, and many of my other friends who we all used to sit around and talk about how we were going to be in a different situation, most of them are still in the same situation. And I'm going to tell you stuff that used to vex me. It used to vex me. But I'm talking about the irritation. You got to get irritated with your own situation. Does this make sense to anybody? You got to get irritated with your own situation. So this is what would irritate me. Don't send me now, another. You hear I said that? That's my good four lights coming out. Don't send me now another house we can't afford to buy. I don't want to see that. Don't send me no more things talking about which house would you prefer? We can't buy none of them, because that's a form of escapism. So what we do is we sit around and dream about places we ain't gonna never go, planes we ain't gonna never ride in, cars we ain't gonna never drive. It's a form of escapism. I stopped playing the escapism game. All right, y'all, I'm about to get out of here. So let me tell you what I have that you can join right now. Soul Shift U is going to start tomorrow. We're going to meet once a month, and once a month live teaching, and then we're going to give you some other teachers to help you work on your mind. The other thing is that I'm finishing up Business Basics on Friday night. I'm finishing up Business Basics on Friday night. I started 2 Fridays ago with how to build from ground zero. That is for people who don't know what to do. It's what I did in the beginning when I did not know what to do. And then number 2 is how to build a beautiful brand, which is me being authentic to my brand. I talk about Jesus. I love Jesus. I'm not apologizing for Jesus. I talk about the Holy Ghost. I'm going to tell you that you need to hear from God, all of that different stuff. We're not hustling. We're not lying. We're not stealing in order to get where we go. And then tomorrow on Friday, I'm going to talk about marketing. I did all of them for $100. I did all of them for $100. And you can still get them, and you can watch the replays on the other one. But what I'm going to come back and do, I can tell you that on March the 31st and through the April 1st is going to be Soul Shift Live. But I think I'm going to do something with Live Your Dreams this summer. That's what I think I'm going to do. And I'm going to have a money component to it, because if you're really tired of being in the situation that you're in, you're going to have to take massive action. You're going to have to take radical action. And, for those of you, let me say this. Some of you are in the place that you're so used to somebody rescuing you. Listen. I'm just trying to share my heart here. You want to take $100 class? You ain't got $100? Ask 10 of your friends for $10. Say to your friends, I am tired of being in the situation that I'm in. Will you help me raise $100? If your friends won't help you raise $100, you either all your friends is broke and you need to do something different, or your friends suck and you need to get some new friends. Why be by myself? Well, technically, you are by yourself. If you ain't got 10 people that'll give you $10, you are by yourself, friend. So you might as well just let the Lord start over. I said to people, hey, what can I get you for Christmas, Pastor Sean? Don't give me none for Christmas, but some cash, because I got a certification I need to take. Right, or 4 friends for $25. But you got to be like, what can I sell? Can I sell some pies? Can I braid some hair? It has to be this thing where I'm just going to sit back here and go, kumbaya. If the Lord want me in this, he'll drop the money in my lap. I'll get a magic fairy cash out. Baby, what can I do? What can I do? And some of you might think your friends and family won't do it, but you've never asked. And I noticed this is never something I recommended, but I had people who've gotten into my programs like this. I had a girl who was trying to get into my $500 program. She asked 5 of her friends for $100. They gave her the $100, and then somebody else paid for her hotel room. Right. Secunda's like, ask somebody, hey, do you need your house clean? Do you need a babysitter? I got to go. And I think the thing is, let me tell you the truth of it is, I think people are more inclined to help you when you say, listen, the reason I'm selling this cookies is because I have this goal. The reason I'm selling this is because I have this goal, as opposed to saying, will somebody help me? Will somebody cash at me? All right, listen, I done gone long enough. I hope y'all got something from this. Listen, if you want to sow into this word today, my Cash App is Sean Strickland. My PayPal is SeanStrickland@gmail. This was a fire live right here. It was fire. The truth of it is, you could take this live right here. Hear what I'm about to tell you. You could take this live right here and make an additional $25,000 this year. This live for free. What I just told you right here is the stuff I did. Linda says some are paralyzed by fear. Move. And that's the point I'm making. No, some of us don't change because everybody rubbing on us on the back. You paralyzed by fear. Move. Get up and do something. Get up and do something, or acknowledge this is all the money you're going to have. You go spend the rest of your life working at a job that you don't want to. And here's the thing. It is not that I am not empathetic to the soul issues that people have. It is that I am tired of those issues holding you hostage. We've been telling some of these same stories forever. You are stronger than you think you are. You are more capable than you think you are. Get up and do something. Even if it fails, it's better than sitting there watching TV. Get up. Ain't you tired of being broke? Ain't you tired of not being able to go on vacation? Aren't you tired of your money telling you to sit down and shut up? Aren't you tired of working at a job that you don't like and they won't let you off when you want to? Are you tired of it? All right, that's it. That's my final word. Child, I'm out. Listen, Soul Shift, Business Basics, Soul Shift Live, March 30th and 31st. We'll probably go open it up on my birthday. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something with Live Your Dream. So I'm going because I'm going to impact more people. I'm going to impact more people. Vita, before you know who's in the t-shirt business, you need to get on a simple app, a picture app, create the t-shirt. You can do that yourself and put it up and see if anybody cares. Don't spend no bunch of time or money trying to sell a product people don't want. I feel like I'm going to do this again this week because this felt good to me. All right. I love y'all. Y'all have a great day. Bye.